Greetings and salutations, creatives. Welcome to Atomic Creativity, brought to you by the Art or Whatever channel. Today, we're going to be talking about character development, and more specifically, about creating a character card. Let's jump right in. Character development. The aim of this video is to show you how to create an in-depth, usable, working character card. This is a character card. What is a character card, you might be asking, or you might be saying, I've seen those, I already know. But if you have seen them and you already know, watch this whole video anyway, because you're probably going to learn something new, because this is slightly different than the ones you might have already seen. What is a character card? A character card is a visual writing aid for your story characters, and they contain important and relevant details. Even though you might have a lot of backstory and a lot of interesting things that you have developed for your character, what's most important are the ones that are used in the story. But more on that later. Why do we use character cards? Well, for one, they help us flesh out our characters. Not so much the card itself, but the process of creating the card helps us flesh out our characters in the most relevant and usable ways. We want to get to know our characters the way we know a good friend or a relative. We want to know what they're thinking. We want to know what they're going to do before they do it, right? Why else do we use them? They ensure consistency, no matter what kind of story you are telling. This is applicable to whether you're by yourself or you're on teams. If you're working on, say, a comic book series and you're working on book 2 and someone on your team is working on book 4 at the same time because you have a deadline to meet, you have to have consistent characters. Otherwise, that's going to be really confusing and the story's going to get muddled, and it's just not good. Okay, so where can you use your character cards and all this effort of character development? You can use them lots of places. In comics, novels and short stories, television, streaming, movies, video games, even brands, at the workplace, peer to peer. Any place that you write and it involves characters, whether that's a human character or an animal or an inanimate object or a concept, this is useful. And as a big bonus, you can even make a character card for yourself. This is just a fun little activity. Every time I do one of these, I learn something new about myself and it helps me grow as a person. So I recommend you try this. Not only might you get some good insights about yourself and your character and your role in this world, you might also get some good insights on how to better create character cards for your fictional characters. All right, let's talk about the characters themselves. What are characters? What role do they play? Characters are the heart of your story. They are the people, the things, the characters that we connect with emotionally, that we care about what happens to them. We fall in love with them. We want to see them overcome hardship. We want to see them beat the bad guy, accomplish the impossible task, those things. Something to keep in mind. Keep this in mind. We fall in love with the characters, not with the plot. So what do we want to do? We want to make our characters able, and I'll show you what I mean. We want to create engaging and relatable characters. There's that first able. Why do we want to create engaging and relatable characters? It's not just something cool to do, but it is cool and it's fun. All the cool writers and creators are doing it. But we want to make relatable and engaging characters to make our story believable. There's that second able. We want to make our characters relatable and believable. Why though? Why? Because believability makes for readability, followability, and watchability, and any other ability that you can think of. Let's make characters for whom our audience wants to watch, read, and follow. Okay, I already gave you one bonus, but this is different. This is a big time mega bonus. This is a nugget of wisdom that I want to pass on to you. I wish I'd learned it a long time ago, but it's better late than never. This is something that is a game changer for character development and for story writing in general. The question is, what's the real point of character development? We spend a lot of hours developing our characters. We know it's valuable to do so. We create details for our characters that never see the light of day, but yet they influence our character and who they are. But what's the point of this all? It's not a pointless task. The golden nugget of wisdom is this. We want to learn how our characters make choices, especially under pressure. This is because characters drive plot. The choices and decisions that the characters make when they have the smallest of decisions to the biggest moral dilemma or obstacle that they could possibly face. Whatever they do is where they go. So just keep that in mind, because you don't want your character to wind up in a situation that doesn't make any sense for them. Even if that doesn't seem like a big deal, just trust me or just humor me. It's a big deal. Let's move on. How do we get there? How do we create characters? Here is a skeletal frame of the topics or subjects that go into character development: archetype, role, motivation, psychology, backstory, character arc, relationships, voice and behavior, and visual design. While this video is short and just scratches the surface, we're only going to be going over a few of these, but the few of these that we will go over should be enough for you to jumpstart your new and exciting character development adventure. Let's talk about character archetypes. If this is a new word, don't worry, I'm about to explain it. What is a character archetype? A character archetype is a template which describes the baseline characteristics, traits, behaviors, motivations, goals, etc. of a given personality type. What the heck does that mean? Well, it'll make itself clear in a moment. How do we use the archetype? We use archetypes as building blocks to quickly establish a character's baseline. From there, we are free to personalize to our creative heart's content. Basically, what we're talking about is stealing ideas, but it's not real stealing, it's artistic stealing, and that's different. Let's poke around the archetypes and you'll see what I mean, hopefully. What are the 12 archetypes? We've got innocent, explorer, sage, outlaw, magician, hero, lover, jester, everyman, caregiver, creator, ruler, and a partridge in a pear tree. There's no partridge, there's no pear tree. Each of these character archetypes represents a different personality type. We all know someone from school who was a joker type. They always responded with sarcasm. They were the class clown. They were funny. That's their overall personality. We know that one guy, one girl who's an explorer. They're restless and they seek and they want freedom. They want adventure. They want adrenaline. We all know that person who always takes charge. They are the ruler. They're a commanding figure. They want order and control and leadership. And there's an upside and a downside to it. So all we're doing is we're stealing these common personality themes, these archetypes, and we're going to apply them to our story. Let's look even further. Archetypes hand us some built-in depth and motivations and other defaults, which is what I was basically just saying, but it's worded here, so it must be true, right? One more layer for the archetypes. Every archetype has layers in depth. We've got the archetype, the personality / traits, and the core desires. And these are all core. These are all just baseline. You can steal from these. The sage, they are a truth seeker or a truth speaker. They want to create paradise on earth or paradise for the main character if they're not the main character. On the other side, there's the jester, the joker. They're fun. That's their personality. That's their main trait. They're fun. And their core desire, their motivating desire, is to connect with others. So hopefully you're beginning to see how this is artistic stealing and it's good in this context. But wait, there's more. What character would ever be complete without a shadow self or a dark side? Why, no character at all. So each of our archetypes have I'll do air quotes here that you can't see, a bad side, a dark side. Again, we've got the innocent, the explorer, the sage, and so on and so forth. The jester, the dark side, the shadow side, the pain side of the jester is that they might mock, they might use humor to mock and make fun of people, or they are an escapist clown, not a literal clown, but sometimes they use humor, they use sarcasm to deflect the pain that they have. The ruler, their bad side, so to speak, when unchecked, they might become a tyrant or a complete control freak. They become obsessed with power and they micromanage and they fear losing control, so they will fight to the death. So now we have a little bit of insight into the archetype and the archetype shadow. They are the same, two sides of the same coin, but I've listed them here as two separate for ease of understanding. So now let's take a look at what role do our archetypes play in our story. Whether you're writing comics, novels, a brand story, TV, movie, anything, every character plays a certain role. So we want to determine what role our archetype plays in our story before we start. Character roles: protagonist, antagonist, sidekick, love interest, ensemble characters, narrator. Every character plays a distinct role in your story. So I encourage you to look this over and get clear on what role your character plays. And this plays into the character card, which we are building up to. So now we've got some insight into archetype, their shadow, and the role in the story. Now let's talk about character complexity. How complex or not complex are they? Here we have 5 different roles of complexity, so to speak, character complexities: round, flat, dynamic, static, stock. Each of these has a different function and serves a different purpose. None are good or bad or better than the other. They are each a utility. A couple of notes on that is that we typically want our primary characters, the characters that we spend the most time with during a story that we're going to get to know, we want them to be round and or dynamic. We don't want flat characters. Flat characters are boring. That's like good for the sake of good or bad for the sake of bad. It's hard to get on board with a character like that. Unless, there's a caveat, unless your character transformation goes from flat to round or flat to dynamic, and that's a transformation. Just be cautious of writing flat, boring characters that don't have personality. Not having a personality means not having conflict, not having dark and light sides and emotion. You have stock characters, those are stereotypes. You get the idea, right? So now we're looking at archetype, their shadow, role in the story, and some depth. What else could there possibly be? Well, let's get to know our characters by hashing out some details. As I mentioned before, you may never bring up even a tenth of what you wind up creating in this next process, but it's an important practice to go through it as the writer because it gives you more context into the lives of your character. Each detail holds varying degrees of influence over them, some more influential than others, some at different layers in their life, but it all influences the context of who they are and how they survive and how they thrive and how they ultimately make their choices. Many of these controls, so to speak, are unconscious, and that's okay. Go through this exercise. It's really powerful. And again, do it for yourself. Let's take a look at this list of traits and background information that I've compiled. Now you can go off and off and off for days upon days and get more and more detailed and tangential, and that's fine. Like I said, just if you ever lose hope or get lost and wonder what it's for, remember, this is all for the purpose of understanding who your character is and how they make decisions and choices, especially under pressure. So here we've got a little bit about psychology and relationships and daily life and their skills and abilities and their character arc and their daily life. It looks like I have skills and abilities twice, no problem. Again, no effort is wasted here. Just remember that you don't have to incorporate most of these details into your story directly. Okay, we have arrived. Let's actually make character cards. How do we go from this lady hero face protagonist to this lady hero face protagonist, full and complete and knowing who she is? Well, we get there like this. First, get something to write or type with, preferably pen/pencil and paper. Writing by hand is always better. And then answer the questions below. There are 2 slides here. I'm just going to mention the topics and a little bit about a couple of them for the sake of brevity. You can pause the video or download this deck from... You can pause the video to get the details, or you can download this PDF from Gumroad. I'll leave the link in the description. Conscious desire. Everybody's got a conscious desire or a goal. I want to do this. I want to do that. There's an unconscious need to do that. We don't just do things arbitrarily. Already right here, just these two, and you get so much more character depth, and it's great. We often just get stuck on what does my character want to do, but we don't ask why. This is why, their unconscious need. There's some lie that your character is telling themselves that is controlling them. This is also very likely unconscious. There's what we call the ghost in the wound. This is trauma. Could be from childhood, could be from 3 weeks ago. But in the context of your story, this is something that happened, some specific past event that traumatized your character and informs their current need for safety and protection. Revealing choice under pressure. In your particular story, what's the big decision they're going to have to make? What are they going to have to choose between? Consistent contradictions. Everybody's got contradictions. We wish we didn't, but we do. These are a part of life, so make sure to write those in so your character has depth. Next slide, we have competence and flaw. Your character is great at something, they're really competent, and they have a flaw. They could be related, could be not related. They might be conscious of them, might not be conscious of them. There's room for creative liberty. Moral obligation. What's their morality like? What do they feel obligated to do morally? The antagonist's logic. From their perspective, what is the bad guy or the rival thinking? What's their logic? Dialogue and subtext. This is not a quote from them. This is how they speak. And more importantly, what's underneath what they're saying? What's the hidden message of what they're saying? And that'll make sense in a minute when I show you a completed character card. The value change, the arc, very important. How is your story going? How is your character going to change throughout the course of the story? Last is voice and mannerisms. How do they actually speak, and what do they do when they speak? Awesome. And that's how you get this, a completed character card. I'll run through this really quickly. Conscious motivation. She wants to save the family farm. And pay attention. See if you can see how all these things kind of fit together. Unconscious need. Prove herself to her family. The lie and controlling ideas that nothing she does is good enough. And the world doesn't appreciate her. Her trauma was she had a chance to save her brother in childhood, and she didn't. So already this first column, we've got some really intense backstory, right? This character has depth. She's got some guilt. She wants to prove herself to her family. Something is happening to the family farm she needs to save. Something's happening to the family farm. She needs to save it. Okay, middle column, revealing choice under pressure. She's going to have to choose between her job and her family. Her contradictions are that she's professionally honest but dishonest with family. Again, that adds more complexity to the family dynamic. Competence and flaw. She's really competent, really good at relationships, but not with her family. And her flaw is self-control. She's got some issues. Moral obligation, protecting her family at all costs. From her perspective, what is her antagonist's logic? Money is more important than family. She's got to save the family farm from this person. Dialogue and subtext, jargon and technical talk, making sure she's understood. I'm not sure why that is underlined. I think that was an accident. So that is not of any special importance. It's just an accident. The value change. What will she go through by the end of this story? She's going to feel at least slightly capable and maybe good enough for her family. Her voice and mannerisms, she has sharp and high tones, but she has retractive body language. So there's another contradiction right in there. She speaks jargon, technical because she wants to be understood. She speaks sharp and high to be heard, but she has retractive body language. She hides herself away, so it's hard to take her seriously. Now, real quick, I'm almost done. Let's talk about the character card of Meanie Man Antagonist. So this is a mirror opposite of the protagonist, of the main character. He wants to overtake the farm. He's the one that is against her and her family. He feels manly by gaining wealth. He believes wrongly that everybody loves you more when you're rich. And he's the ghost in the wound. His trauma is that he was really poor in childhood. So he's obviously replacing it with money, right? More money, the better, the safer he is. revealing choice under pressure. He's going to have to choose profit over helping others. He's fiercely loyal but professionally dishonest, right? Go through. The value change is that he feels, by the end of the story, he's going to feel at least some empathy and softness, and he's deep and sinister, and he towers over others. Okay, everybody, we are closing up. Just a couple more minutes. Now we've got insights from the archetype, their shadow, the role in the story, the depth of character, and the details galore that includes all of the backstory and all of these questions that we just ran through to make the character card. This equals a complex, meaningful character. That is how you get it done. And that is how you write a character that people can connect and follow and read. So as promised in the beginning, the aim of this document was to show you how to create an in-depth character card. And I hope to heck that it delivered. If it didn't, comment below and let me know. Before we go, check out some of these resources. These are all products that I have used and continue to reference even 20 plus years after first touching them in college. If you click on these links, if you download the PDF, I get a little commission if you buy them. No shame there. We're all gonna make a living. So everybody, thank you so much. That is it. This has been great. I hope that you got a lot out of it. Please like and subscribe. Comment below. Tell me what kind of content you want to see. If something wasn't clear, let me know and I'll do my best to clarify it. And I will see you in the next video.